You don't die from the cold, but from what comes before it. From the silence that bites, the air that burns, the ice that never forgives. In Yakutia, winter isn't a season, it's a sentence. You think that digging up mammoth tusks is about strength, about courage. It isn't. It begins long before you touch the first fragment of ivory. It begins the moment you open your eyes in the middle of the tundra and your breath freezes before leaving your mouth. Dawn doesn't exist here. Only a bluish twilight that never becomes day. You wake to the crackle of frost under the weight of the wind. Your shelter is a wooden hut that groans as if it had bones. The stove barely manages to keep a spark of warmth alive. Sleep is a constant negotiation with hypothermia. Either you wrap yourself in furs until you can't feel your fingers, or you let the frost caress your eyelids until it falls asleep beside you. Breakfast is a lukewarm mix of fat and black tea. Fat, because here calories aren't a luxury, they're survival. Chewing it feels like swallowing wax, but without it, your organs would start to shut down like lamps in a blackout. Tea, because liquid water is a miracle that lasts only a few seconds before turning back to stone. Your body stops shivering not because it adapts, but because it surrenders. Your skin turns to wood. The vapor of your breath clings to your beard like glass needles. You put on your coat, your reindeer skin boots, your thick mittens. Clothes don't warm you. They only delay the inevitable. Each layer is a fragile wall against an enemy you can't see but can feel deep in your bones. Outside, the landscape looks like another planet. The sky, a sheet of steel. The ground, a cemetery of ice. Beneath your feet, buried for millennia. Giants sleep. Woolly mammoths, frozen witnesses of an age time has forgotten. Their tusks, curved like pale moons, are worth thousands on the black markets of ivory. But to find them, you must defy eternal ice, the unforgiving permafrost. The journey to the excavation site is made on foot or on snowmobiles that roar like metal beasts over brittle ice. Every kilometer is a reminder that the earth here breathes, cracks, and sinks. The tusk hunters, or mamuchiki, move forward with covered faces, eyes narrowed to slits. They do not speak. Sound runs out quickly in this emptiness. When you arrive, the work has only just begun. The tools are simple: shovels, pickaxes, portable flamethrowers. Yes, fire in the midst of ice. With them, you slowly melt the layers of permafrost, layer by layer, century by century. Each strike of the pickaxe sounds like a heartbeat beneath the ground. Each spark from the torch is an attempt to speak with the past. The smell is strange, a mix of damp earth and old flesh, because what you unearth isn't always tusks. Sometimes it's skin, sometimes muscle, sometimes an eye that sees again after 30,000 years. The mammoths are not dead. They're only waiting. But the work isn't just archaeology, it's survival. Every minute without movement can be a sentence. The cold creeps through seams, through gloves, through cracks in your will. The fingers lose feeling first, then the feet, then the sense of time. Here, an hour lasts a century, and a mistake lasts forever. There is no nearby refuge. If a blizzard appears, you vanish with it. White storms give no warning, they simply swallow. That's why the hunters learn to read silence, to listen to the air. A change in the texture of the wind can be the difference between returning with a tusk or never returning at all. The tusk appears suddenly, a white arc emerging from the ground, shining like a trapped moon. Everyone stops, no one speaks. Because before history, noise is disrespect. It's cleaned with care, with brushes, with hands that tremble, not from fear, but from reverence. Each tusk is a map, a relic, a fortune. But fortune has a price. Once extracted, the tusks weigh more than gratitude. They're hauled on sleds, covered with tarps, hidden from the sun that could fracture them. Each piece is worth as much as a car in Moscow. But in Yakutia, there are no roads, no immediate buyers. Only ice, distance, and danger. The day ends without you noticing. There is no sunset, only a night that never left. Back at camp, the wind cuts like a blade. You warm your hands over the stove, but the heat never enters. Your mind drifts between fever and exhaustion. In the corner, the tusks rest, wrapped like giant infants, while outside, the ice continues to keep its secrets. Because tomorrow, perhaps, another giant will awaken. You don't sleep. You survive. Outside, the ice sings with creaks that sound like warnings. Every noise could be a crack or an invisible beast moving beneath the surface. In the tundra, silence has weight. The wind blows with a ghost's voice, reminding you that no one is truly safe here. You wake with numb hands and cracked lips. The fire has gone out. In Yakutia, even fire grows tired of fighting. You step out of the shelter, and the whole world seems frozen in place, as if time itself had turned to ice alongside the mammoths. But time moves on. So do you. Because the Tusks won't wait. Each day of excavation is a battle against an invisible enemy. Cold, hunger, fatigue. Your companions move like shadows. Faces crusted with frost, eyelashes white, eyes sunken. There are no heroes here, only men chasing ancient ghosts for a handful of bills. When you finally manage to unearth a full tusk, the entire camp transforms. Everyone gathers around the piece as if it were a sleeping god. The tusk stretches over 3 meters long, curved, imposing. It gleams like a celestial bone under the gray light. You wash it with hot water, with hands trembling from exhaustion and awe. You know what it means. Not just history, but money. And here, money is measured in degrees below zero. In the nearest villages, traders wait. Some legal, others not so much. They arrive on snowmobiles, wearing fur coats and shiny watches. They speak quietly, glance quickly, pay in cash. The tusks travel in sealed crates, disguised as antiques, as trophies, as art. Some will end up carved into delicate figures that will never remember their origin. Others will cross borders wrapped in lies. You know what they're worth, but you also know what they cost. For every tusk, there's a risk. For every find, a debt to life. Some companions never return. They fall into crevasses, into frozen rivers, or are swallowed by avalanches that leave no trace. No one asks about them. The ice keeps them, as part of the bargain. At night, while the wind howls between the tents, you think of the mammoths, of how they lived, how they died, how they sleep beneath your feet. They didn't choose to be treasures. They never asked to awaken in hands that only seek to sell their memory. And yet, their story rises, piece by piece, as if the past refused to be forgotten. The cold doesn't judge. It only watches. And in its frozen gaze, all are equal. The hunters, the tusks, the sleeping giants. The money comes, yes, but it never stays. You spend it on fuel, on food, on surviving another winter. No one grows rich digging in the ice. Only older, wearier, more distant. The mammoth's white gold pays the bills, but it charges in solitude. One day, as you pack up the tools and the sky begins to close again, you understand something. You're not searching for tusks. You're searching for meaning. Something to justify so much cold, so much silence, so much buried life. But the ice does not answer. The last tusk is loaded onto a sled and covered with canvas. The tundra closes its wound again. Tomorrow, no one will know a giant once slept here. No one, except you. You return to camp with the feeling that you've touched a secret too vast to hold. You sit before the fire, watch the sparks climb toward the roof and vanish. You think of how fleeting you are, compared to the millennia kept by the frozen earth. And as the wind blows with a voice of eternity, you understand. The mammoths never left. We are the ones who arrived too late.